What's good, folks? It's Warframe here with a new Warframe video coming at you with a PSA of some sort. Now, this is a question that I've been getting a lot on the streams, and it's gotten to a point where it warrants a video. Hopefully this video will go out to those people, even newer people coming in and having this particular question in mind. I'll definitely make it a command on the stream as well. So the question I get a lot is that, hey, is this Warframe worth it? Is this weapon worth it? Is doing this worth it? Now, the general answer would be yes, it is worth it, because getting every Warframe in the game, every weapon in the game, every sentinel, companion, whatever, anything that will benefit you in some way is worth it. You have to get a lot of things in Warframe. It is a farming simulator. Yes, the actual answer that I want people to ask, rather than is this worth it, is it worth investing in? That's your question, because your goal as a new player is basically going around each planet, discovering new enemies, discovering the boss that's on that planet, fighting that boss, getting the Warframe parts, crafting them, and then finally finishing up your new Warframe. So yes, getting everything on your way through the star chart is worth it. New weapons, crafting new weapons will benefit you in terms of mastery rank. That will allow you to craft other weapons, because for some weapons you need to craft another weapon and use that weapon as an ingredient for the newer weapon. For example, the war. So now we're going to move on to the topic, is it worth investing in? Let's get to the star chart. For example, as a new player, you're going to start off on Earth, make your way through each node. You're gonna experience Plains of Eidolon whether you like it or not, because hey, it's shiny and blinking. You're gonna click on it. Yes, go to it, experience it, whatever. Each node that you're gonna be doing will grant you rewards, mastery rank XP. However, you are going to end up on a boss node. So boss nodes will have, of course, a particular boss for that planet, and that boss will drop 3 parts of the Warframe. You have to kill it a certain amount of times. You can be lucky and get each part with each run. You have to repeat it. Craft that Warframe. Now you will get a new Warframe and you'll have to use it. Now, is that Warframe that you get from this planet worth it in the long run? Well, you will have a regular version and a prime version. Usually the regular versions are actually worth it in terms of leveling them up, and you shove them into the helmet straight after. But of course, as a new player, you don't know what a helmet is, so keep it in the meantime. Your main goal is expanding your arsenal as much as possible, and every new item will serve you a purpose. For example, Oro will give you Hydroid. There is a prime version for Hydroid, so that means there's no point keeping the regular version, and you'll just shove it into the helmet, and the helmet system will provide you their one ability that is allowed for you to use. Now, by completing certain junctions within the star chart map, you'll be rewarded with some weapons, some mods. Now, these weapons will come to you left and right by researching them from your dojo, getting the blueprint off the market, crafting them, and of course, they're going to be prime versions of certain weapons. Now, is it worth keeping the old variants? For some, yes. For some, and others, no. For example, the latest prime that was released, Phantasma Prime. Now, the regular version and the prime versions are pretty much similar. There's like 2 things that are different, and the differences are the ammo maximum and the crit chance. But there is one significant difference, and that is the Riven disposition. That's if you're focusing on getting Rivens. Since the weapon doesn't have that much of a difference, you're better off using it on a regular version, which has a higher Riven disposition. If you want to know more about Rivens, I do have a Riven guide. TLDR, Riven disposition determines how potent your Rivens are. For example, we're going to take a look at this Riven that I have. 120 multi-shot, 140 base damage, and 93% heat. And of course, plus weapon recoil is a free negative on beam weapons. As you can see, it fits on the Phantasma. And right there, the Riven disposition has 3 circles. If we switch to the prime version, you can see the attributes do fall, and the Riven disposition's at 1. So we lose a lot of the bonus stats when we switch to a prime version, because they do not share the same Riven disposition. It is pretty much the same weapon, but the prime, of course, shares a different suffix, meaning it's a different category, the prime category. Just like how you have the Kuva variants and the regular versions. Sticking to the Riven topic, there are times where people would come in with the most absurd Riven. Absurd meaning it's garbage. And they still ask you, hey, is this a good Riven? Now, this is something that people need to know. When you're building your weapons, listen close. when you're making a build for your weapons, finish the build without the Riven in mind completely. If your build doesn't do what you want it to do without a Riven, then the build is the problem, because you do not need a Riven for anything in this game. The only time you need a Riven is if you're min-maxing for that 1%, for speed running mostly, for trying to achieve meme damage numbers, trying to achieve some Ultra Instinct disruption level cap run. I've done several level caps, meaning going up against the highest enemy level there is, Rivenless. I've hunted Eidolons, Rivenless. You don't need a Riven to do anything in this game. And there are people like Asian Invasions, just for fun, they did a hunt with a modless Lanka. They just used external buffs, you know, using Warframe buffs and all other things just to help do their damage. If you're focused so much on the Riven, make sure you get a Riven that fits your build, not the other way around. Finish the build, make sure it has everything you need into the build to do the job that it needs to do, and then the Riven comes in after, where it replaces the least important mod on the build, or it adds on to the build, where you finish the build and you just have one slot left, which can have any other mod that you want, and that's when your Riven comes in. Don't be too focused on what you should do with a Riven. As a new player, I understand you just got a Riven, you don't know what to do with it. Oh my god, is this good or is this not? Do research on the weapon first. For example, you just got yourself a Skana Riven. Now, there are a few people who'd want this type of Riven. People who have the Skana Prime, you know, just for that little extra damage and utility. And there are people who'd want to use it on the Prisma Skana or even the regular Skana as a stat stick Riven for their pseudo-exalted weapon. Riven has two worths. If it's unrolled, meaning untouched, where someone will take that Riven off of you for a certain price and use their Kuva to roll to get something better, and either they will keep it or flip it and sell it when they get a decent roll. So those are the two worths that a Riven has. If you get a Riven and you roll it and it's something bad, that Riven is worthless until you keep rolling it to get something better. I hate rolling Rivens, and I only roll one Riven. I already have my Eidolon Hunting Riven, which is the CCCD MS negative Rubico Riven, and I have another Riven which I just roll for fun, and it's already reached, yeah, it's reached 764 rolls. This is the only Riven I roll, and when we ever get another CCCD MS, I could sell it. I just got this. That's pretty bad. So this Riven is not worth much. Now, some of you may be asking, but why is it not worth much? It has crit chance, crit damage, and toxin. Those are pretty good stuff. They're good stuff. But it doesn't fulfill much unless I replace something. That 54% toxin isn't worth replacing anything. It's not worth adding on to the build unless this Riven had multi-shot. Multi-shot is a really big damage increase when it comes to guns. So if you're rolling for a Riven, make sure it has multi-shot, either fire rate, crit damage, and if it needs a little bit more crit chance, yeah, go for it. Multi-shot is a huge boon to guns. Anyway, I digressed a little bit too much when it came to the Riven topic. Yeah, here's another part. When it comes to modular weapons, not many people know what they want in modular weapons, and they'll go out asking people if this combination's worth it, search for YouTube videos, so and so. So yeah, understand that could be a difficult part when it comes to getting your appropriate modular weapons, especially the operator amp. Now the operator amps, Zaws, kit guns, they all need for you to guild it so you can earn the mastery rank. So you can have a bunch of combinations just to earn the mastery rank, but if you want an amp so you can use it for Eidolon hunting, taking out some angels, yeah, you would need a proper combination. And I do have a lot of variants of amps because metas did change, and I just created some just for fun. So before you actually invest in something like modular weapons, I would highly suggest, yes, ask around, do research. If you want a guide for amps, I do have an in-depth advanced amp guide. So if you really want to get into Eidolon hunts, I suggest for you to check out that video. It's not for those who just want to go in there and, you know, trial and error just to see how things work, you know, just casual stuff. No, it's not, none of that. And Zaws have fallen off, but if you want some decent combinations, I also do have videos for those. Those combinations are still the same combinations I use today, but when it comes to builds, of course, the builds will change because mods change, the elemental and IPS bias was changed, a lot of things have changed, but the combinations still remain the same. So yes, it's worth getting a lot of these things, but you have to know what is worth investing in. That's the main TLDR of the topic. And yeah, here's another thing. What prime mods are worth getting and investing in? Well, I would say all of them, but then there's some prime mods that aren't really worth it in the meantime because you won't come to that problem depending on your build. Some prime mods, for example, prime ammo stock, are for particular builds and min-maxing. You don't generally need this on every single shotgun, but it's worth having for some min-maxing builds. For example, faction mods, huge DPS increase, but if you're doing casual stuff, going in and out of missions, they're not really worth using. But if you want to do that extra damage, yeah, totally do it, especially when it comes to Steel Path and above. So hopefully I've covered a general aspect of this topic and you get to understand a little bit more in terms of what is worth in this game. Yes, again, I will repeat myself, a lot of things are worth it, but the main thing you should be asking yourself, is it worth investing in this particular item or this particular thing? That's the main question you should have in your head. So for those who will come into the comment section asking, hey, what about this? Is it worth it? I will try my best and answer them. And if people in the community will respond to them, then kudos to them. They're helping out the community. But of course, it's the YouTube comment section. Expect trolls and all that. And before I go, is Inaros worth investing in? Yes, absolutely. Inaros is worth investing in. You want to do those hijack missions very easily? Totally. If you're new to the game and you want something pretty brain dead for just any regular mission, totally. Is your Rally worth investing in? Absolutely not. Level her up, toss her aside. Is Hydro worth investing in? No. Level him up, toss him aside. Is Chroma worth investing in? Absolutely. One of the best credit farms you can do in Profit Taker. He's very straightforward to use in Profit Taker. Is Grendel worth investing in? Yeah, absolutely. His second ability is a huge DPS increase. And guess what? It's also his helmet ability. So if you don't want to use Grendel, well, you can toss him aside and just use his helmet ability. And one more. Is the War worth using? No. So you have the Broken War. You just got the Broken War as a new player. Keep it. Do not craft the War. You have two options. Either swipe or farm some platinum and buy the bundle to grab yourself a war, or keep playing the game, drop a war blueprints, and keep playing the game, kill some sentients, get war parts or buy war parts, and to get the broken war blueprint from the stalker, and craft yourself a second war and shove it into the foundry to craft the stupid weapon war. Level up the war and drop it aside. I said war a lot. Yeah, because war is actually the worst heavy blade in the game, and broken war is just far superior. Anyway, that has been it from this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed and learned something from it. And if you did, feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.